And good afternoon, everybody. It is time for the game coming up for Liverpool against Leeds here on American Scouser TV. The pre-match show. The lineups are out. It looks a bit of a doozy for us, for sure. I'm not too certain about the Leeds lineup and how it looks for them because I'm not a Leeds supporter. Who would be? But an interesting lineup for us. We will have people talking and hopefully coming in and giving their opinions as we go along. But for now, here is what we have for the lineup. It is probably as could be expected. Allison in goal, Alexander Arnold right back, Gomez, Van Dijk centre backs, Robertson left back, Fabinho, Thiago, it seems, as the central midfield pair. Elliott, Salah, and Firmino should be across the attacking midfield areas, with Firmino central, Salah left, and Elliott on the or Salah right and Elliott on the left, and then Nunez up front. It seems to be that that's what we're going to do. It also could be a very, very out of left field 4-3-1-2, which is not something you would associate with Jurgen Klopp. I don't believe we've ever played. I know he played a 4-3-2-1 when he first got to Liverpool. When Brendan Rodgers was sacked, it was the first 5 games, I think, just to solidify everything and make us a little bit harder to score against. So we'll have a chat about that. We have Trevor subbing himself in there. So the lineup looks interesting on paper. It seems to be the 4-2-3-1 with Elliott on the left. However, this thing has it slightly different, which would be incredibly interesting if that's what we're going to do. We talked about on Thursday about Elliott moving into that central midfield role a lot more than being an attacker. What do you think of the lineup, Trevor? And do you think it's going to be the 4-3-3, the 4-2-3-1, or this out of left field surprise at a box?
Yeah, when that came up on my feed as well, I was like, oh, that's a bit interesting, just to kind of clean up the language a bit. It's one of those things where, yeah, seeing Harvey dropping back into that line with those two, not particularly something you think you'd see. You'd at least seem kind of like in line with Bobby if you're going to go like a 4-2-2 like that and just have those two guys that can really give the people either out wide or centrally in their defense fits, and then kind of just set up Mo and Nunez. But yeah, if that's really how they're going to run it, Harvey's going to get a bit of a little trial by fire if that's the case.
It'd be interesting as well because we saw against Ajax where Nunez was almost the left winger in a 4-3-3, and Salah the left, and then Firmino dropping back in, which kind of makes it a 4-3-1-2 almost by default. But if this is what it's going to look like, it's almost by design. Then it's almost like that tactical flexibility we never thought Klopp had suddenly seems to be a tool in his toolkit.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to see if it actually is what comes to pass, and if it's something that they're really just going to like trot out and make lineups for their opponents rather than just going, this is what we do and this is what we do every time regardless of opposition.
Looking at the Leeds lineup, I couldn't say whether there are or are not surprises there for Leeds, but I know they've had a few injuries. So looking at the lineup, where do you see any threats from Leeds, and where do you see any opportunities for us?
I really think that the fact that they're rolling Rodrigo out there up top by himself is interesting, because it's usually if somebody was up top by their lonesome, it was going to be Bamford, and if they were going to go Rodrigo, they needed somebody off him just so he could play off a little more. So that if he's the lone guy up top, I think that's something that you can very much exploit, because you can not have to put too much effort into corralling him unless there's just like a long ball over the top, and then you kind of have to hope that Gomez and Virgil have their heads on straight for the entirety of the game. but yeah, I don't think that they're set up to, I don't know, particularly mirror what we're bringing at them. It says on the thing a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, I don't know how that particularly is going to counteract anything we're going to look to do, but there are some holes in that defense that guys getting plugged in that would normally sit in kind of like a holding role that are now on the back line that, hey, you got to take advantage of it.
I mean, the lineup itself doesn't look particularly dangerous, which is famous last words. I think we said this could be a banana skin, as confident as you would be. But the Leeds back four doesn't really scream brick wall, does it? And they're two central midfielders that they're going to play. You don't really see them matching Thiago and Fabinho. So it would almost be, it seems like a case that we're going to have to beat ourselves rather than Leeds have any threats for us, do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to like minimize mistakes because they have players out there that can really just be gnats. Like Aaronson's a gnat, and he will make sure that every single pass that Gomez and Van Dijk make, especially in the first half, have to be precise because he will run tirelessly in those channels and really try to just get that one interception, one ball over the top. And Rodrigo, like I was saying, if it's something where they just are out of position and he gets one ball, he can time his run well enough, and that's going to be trouble. But other than that, I think if we're just careful with the ball, methodical, not necessarily to the point of being dull, but just careful with the ball, keep it out of the those spots where something that like I just posited would happen. So no dangerous balls over the middle into like triple coverage, please. I know that it's something that Virgil thinks he can kick it through every single person's wickets in the world, especially when they're playing out of the back. But please don't.
It looks to me, the two threats, it seems to me, from Leeds would be Aronson and Jack Harrison in the attack. I mean, Jack Harrison is a reasonable player. I mean, Somerville, I mean, he seems capable sometimes, and then other times he look like he should be playing in the Championship, as far as I can see, but still has a little bit of danger about him. And Bamford on the bench is not a bad player for them to have. I mean, he is a bench player because he's permanently injured. But how do you see that their right side against their left side with Robertson, Virgil, and Thiago holding that zone there? Do you think we're going to be strong enough for them?
Yeah, and Somerville's a player that I've seen play a couple times, and yeah, there's a little bit of creativity there, and a little bit of something that in the right moment could make something happen. But I don't foresee it being a big worrying point for us on that day. And I'm worried more about the guys that you just brought up, Harrison and Aronson, as guys who will just run, and when they get the ball, always are looking to look up and make that pass because they know when they make those opportunities for themselves and they get those chances from mistakes, they're not going to get much more through like the normal run of play. So they are always looking to take advantage of them.
Jamie, it seems, is letting his brand new wee one do his typing for him. But big congrats to Jamie. You just became a dad this week. So we're looking forward to hearing back from him as well. And hopefully Liverpool can give him and his new extended family the result that they deserve for being fantastic people. And Jamie is a fantastic person, even if he is from the north. In terms of us, I mean, we talked about how Elliott is getting an awful lot of trust placed on him, and he seems really, really capable of dealing with it. He just seems like an old head on young shoulders, as they used to say. If Thiago and Fabinho are minding the shop, does that mean Elliott has a little bit more of extra pressure on him to be the creative player in that triumvirate, as they say?
Yeah, and that's why when I look at that formation that they put out. Not necessarily sure that he's going to kind of be that in that as far back as it kind of lays him out. And I don't think that'll ever be something that's expected of him. I think he will definitely lurch forward a bit and kind of give Bobby that bit of swap and overlay type of play where he can kind of just moving around and get those passes from the other two that can kind of just do kind of like a weaving break. And there is a lot of pressure on him for that to kind of just be that middleman. And I think he's up for the task, especially against a team like Leeds, who, while they have athletic players in the midfield, aren't the I'd say in terms of defensively sound. They kind of leave a lot to the imagination of their fans.
We're going to have a halftime substitution in. We're going to change the formation a bit, and it's Timuchin, and he's back. How are you, Timuchin?
I am back, baby. Finally back in town. Ready to go. Hopefully, this day started a little rocky for me, so I'm hoping the Reds make it right and we get a smooth Saturday rest of the way.
And then I get to have an extra half hour's lie-in from next week onwards, which would be fantastic. Timuchin, what do you think of the lineup?
I know, no surprises really, right? I mean, the only area that we didn't know would be Thiago Henderson. I think everything else kind of, unfortunately, with all the injuries we have, kind of like fills in itself. I mean, you got to get 3 points, right? I mean, Chelsea loses points. Freaking Spurs almost did. I was kind of hoping for that too, but just let's get these 3 points. I've been saying it for weeks now. Let's just crawl over the line to the World Cup just by racking up some 3 points and then just go from there. And I think this is a good step. I know it's a team. This game kind of worries me a little bit because I feel like it can go either way. They play so hectic, like Leeds plays so freaking hectic, and sometimes almost like too fast for their own good. So if you have a good press up top, this could be one of those like 4-0, 5-0 games. But then at the same time, if we do something stupid in the back as they're pressing, it can go the other way as well as a team that can hit you on the counter.
If we look again at the subs bench, obviously Henderson not being risked overly because we're going to need him a lot in the second half of the season. But clearly that bang on the knee the other day was just something that was more uncomfortable rather than career endangering. But we also have Ox back as well and Konate. Of Ox and Konate, Timuchin, who we know who you want to see on the field, but who do you think is more likely?
Who do I see more likely?
Out of the two of those,
I would still say Ox is a lot more likely to come in. I still see, I mean, if Konate is almost ready, Klopp likes doing this thing where he kind of like throws him out there for like last 15, 20 minutes. So I can see that, but I also see Ox as somebody who can come in off the bench. If we have a big lead to kind of, rest somebody, like just save some legs. If you don't have a lead, it's kind of like another kind of weapon to throw out there. Apart from Carvalho and Ox, really, who's going to come off that bench and make an impact? I mean, I know like Ox is not going to probably make an impact either, but I'm just saying, like name-wise.
I think that's perfectly correct. I mean, if Trevor, if you look at that bench, with the exception of Ox, and if you're talking about a healthy Ox, we'd probably be a lot more confident about it. But on that bench, who do you see is going to change the game if it's a tight 0-0 or 1-1 coming into the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, that's the rub. There's not much there that can really be a quote unquote game changer. You got a lot of game managers in there. You got Milner that would come in to just steady the ship late in the game. I don't think Simicast is coming in unless Robbo's hurt or it's late in the game. Jones, maybe if you really need to just throw 5 people at a goal or something. But other than that, you're not really giving yourself those super subs, and because you don't really have the people to do that.
Who would, here's the question, like Macka, like if you had a choice between Ox or Jones to come off the bench to make an impact, like who would you pick, for example?
I'd go for Ox, just because he has the experience. And I think that's the thing that we're going to have to look at. The romantic side of us all would want Curtis Jones to come in and throw away the cobwebs of a long period of injuries and score the winning goal against Leeds. And he's one of the kids and it's great and all that. But it's not going to happen. It's going to be Elliott that does that, if anybody, or Carvalho maybe. But out of who's on the bench, the one who knows the goal the most, always seems to me it's going to be Ox. So my question then is, if we have to shore the game up, if we're maybe 1-0, maybe Leeds are putting the fight of their lives into it, who are the safest players to put on that we know are not going to make the mistakes? Because that's what's going to hurt us.
You're asking me this, huh?
I'm going to ask. I'm going to give you the difficult questions. You had a week off. You're getting the difficult questions because you had a week off.
Yeah, man. Just like, hold on, I got cobwebs. I mean, obviously Milner is a no-brainer, right? Milner and Hendo probably coming in. Maybe like for Elliott, you put somebody like Hendo in there, somebody a bit more defensive. But that's what I mean. If we take a lead against this team, and if they're coming at us, that is a good move to bring Milner or Henderson in to win the ball and then just hit him on the counter, because they do suffer against the counter. Because, like I say, it's a team that plays like always almost like overexcited. Like when you watch Leeds, it's like they're just like in a constant like hectic rush, and they can get out of position very easily because of that. Like when they're pressing or when they're attacking, everybody was like, let's go. And they go, and one missed pass. I think this is a huge game. And I know, he hasn't been top form lately, but for somebody like Fabinho to cut those counters and start ours, I think he is going to play a big role today. But yeah, I mean, you could bring in help to him by bringing somebody like Hendo and Milner to win that ball and kind of like reverse the counterattack. And you have like Nunez and Mo, and you have a lot of speed up top that can really hurt them once we catch them. So I know I'm hopeful about this game, but cautiously optimistic, let's say.
Trevor, I think Timuchin is right in that they still kind of play a lot of the Beelzebub and the high intensity non-stop running. But it also seemed to me that Marshall's trying to rein that in a little bit, and they've been caught between the two stools. And we've seen that this season with Liverpool, with the kind of trying to make those tactical changes. Do you think Leeds are ripe to be taken advantage of whilst they're still in two minds before they get it clicked for them?
100%. It's something where, and we've seen it on our end, where you're trying to just kind of make something work when you've done something else for so long, and kind of getting yourself out of that mindset of just, like Timuchin says, just running frantically over and over again, and kind of get yourself a bit more disciplined. It's tough when it's drilled into you that the pressing and just the constant motion is the most important, and positional awareness and stick-to-itiveness be damned. Then when somebody comes in and tries to tell you, no, okay, we got to take a bit of the best of both worlds, it's hard to flip that switch off. And I think that's something that a lot of teams thus far have taken advantage of, and hope we can do the same today.
Trevor, we will talk to you. Thank you for joining us today. We will talk to you soon. I'm sure you'll be back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. while I'm lying in bed, still asleep. Enjoy the game, Trevor. Talk to you later. Timuchin, a question: if it's going to become one of those games where both teams are pressing, both teams are finding spaces, could this come down to the two goalkeepers?
Honestly, more than the goalkeepers, I feel like that final pass, whoever does that final pass better. Because I think when you win that ball with the counter, like, are you going to be able to create something off of it right away with the properly placed, well-timed pass? Or are you going to kind of like rush things and lose the ball over again, lose that opportunity? I mean, the goalies are obviously always important, but I think more than that, it's going to be key what those defensive midfielders, I think it's more midfield than anything else. If Fab and Thiago can cut off the attacks, and when we win the ball, do those critical passes, I think we're going to have a good game. And, Nunez or Mo or Bobby, I mean, they will finish their chances once they get it. We know Leeds is not a team that's just going to park the bus unless, Jesse worries about his gig and tries to do that. I just don't see it. That's not his way. So that kind of works in our favor as long as we can beat their press. And we know what's coming. I think that's the thing with Leeds. You know exactly what's coming. Sometimes you play against, I don't know, a team like West Ham. And you're like, are they going to sit back? Are they going to come at us? You may not know, but you know exactly what you're getting with Leeds. Kind of similar to, when we play, people know what we're going to do. It's just a matter of how well can you execute it. Obviously, Leeds has not been executing recently. But then again, we execute one day, screw it up another day. So you just don't know which Liverpool you're going to get. That's why, hence the dilemma.
I think as well, on top of that, for the comparison between the two teams, I think we're looking really mainly at Aronson and Harrison as those only two passes on the Leeds team. I can't see anybody else in the team who has that incisive pass, whereas we have at least 4 or 5 on the field. So it almost come down to if we can just eliminate those two threats. I don't want to say it's going to be an easy game, but we should find a lot more spaces than they do, shouldn't we?
I think so too, because like I say, the way they play, once you beat the press, I mean, talking about goalie being important, I think how we kind of move the ball around and give me a heart attack as we build in the back and make these risky passes, while I'm kind of suffering on one end, if we can break that press there, I think with that space and the quality we have, I think we will have a lot of chances. So it's just going to be a matter of who breaks that press better, who executes their press better, I guess, if you want to flip it the other way.
Yeah, we talked on Thursday night on the podcast, me and David, about Nunez, that it just seemed like his performance against Ajax was full of confidence. It was almost like he knew what he was supposed to do, so now he knows when he doesn't have to do it, as opposed to always kind of being confused about where he's supposed to be. How important is he going to be for this game if he continues that sort of mentality that he had in the Champions League?
I mean, he's huge, man. I think because what he does also helps the guys around him. How Bobby helps people around him and how Nunez helps people around him are totally different. Nunez with his speed and power and stuff can cause a threat where, people levitate towards him and he pulls center backs that way. Bobby will pull you towards the midfield and create space behind. So I think he's huge in that way. What I liked in the Ajax game was when he missed the sitter, I think it was key to come back with a goal afterwards. And I'm hoping as he has better, more and more good performances, that pressure on him, I just feel still you watch this kid and you kind of almost can feel the pressure. He's been unfortunate to come at the same time as Haaland, along with the price tag. So I think as he gets more performances, he's going to get, more confidence. The game will almost slow down for him where he can make those passes and he makes the right runs and stuff like that. But I mean, I definitely have liked what I've seen so far, except when it looks like he's over trying. Once he kind of calms down and he plays within the game, like you're saying. And I think, small successes where he picks his spots and can get his goals and contribute. I think as he sees that more, maybe he'll be like, yeah, I don't have to push it, And here's another thing, it's a big adjustment for him from being the guy and, your entire attack, being relied on you to being a part of the bigger piece is kind of an adjustment. He constantly wants that ball, which is great. But I think he has to I feel like, he got the ball a lot more. He was a lot more of a target man when it was in Benfica. So now, he's going to make those runs still and might not necessarily get the ball just to create space. And so he doesn't get the ball as much. I almost feel like he doesn't know when he's going to get the opportunity next. And he almost forces him to I got to do something with this because I might not get the ball again for 2 minutes kind of deal. When you're the targets man, those chances and the ball is going to keep coming back and forth. So I don't know. I'm hoping. I really like his progress from the guy who came in the summer overall.
Just to flip it over to the other side now, should we win and let's say win comprehensively, does Leeds say thanks but no thanks to Jesse Marsch, or should they stick with him for a little bit longer?
I think they say thanks but no thanks at this point. I know, like as American Scouser, and like some of the boys are obviously American. I mean, I'm like, I'm in more of a neutral party looking at it, and I feel like this hectic pace is like, and his like, arm around the shoulder, come on guys, let's go, like this young squad. People have almost like figured it out, and it's not always working. He's leaving too much. I don't think he has the quality to be able to do it consistently and succeed. So one game it works really well when your opponent can't handle it, but in most cases, kind of like goes back to what I was saying earlier. Everybody knows exactly what they're getting now, and they don't have the quality to be able to execute it as well as they should. And I think it's getting exposed. And at what point do you say, hey man, this crazy thing is not working. We got to kind of calm down and, be okay with a draw and play it safe and see if we can nick like a goal to get the 3 points in an away game instead of playing so open and exposing ourselves and getting clobbered left and right. I think that's like the bigger issue there. Will they give him till the World Cup? I don't know. I mean, that would be the only thing probably is, let's see what happens until the World Cup. But you're kind of sinking more and more and more. Like, I expect that most teams to at least wait till the World Cup. But it's a matter of if they have a backup plan ready to go. That's another thing.
Well, there's always Brendan Rodgers if they're stuck.
There you go. I was actually shocked today that, a Brendan Rodgers team held City to a goal like that. Otherwise, they were about to nick a point. So. That's shocking. Maybe he's listening to you, man.
Yeah, he probably is. That's because I keep doing memes about
it. During the game.
Before we go, a quick prediction from you. What do you think?
The optimistic side of me is kicking in today. I'm thinking like a 4-1 win.
I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to do one of my famous, not very good specific predictions. I think Núñez scores another header. That's my prediction: a 2-0 win and another Núñez header. Because
I love your random predictions.
It's almost like people don't expect them to head the ball. It's really weird. They expect them to put them on the ground, and they don't mark them.
What pisses me off is, what was the goal he scored? That was the Premier League goal, I think, right? I mean, he was clearly heading the ball there, and he got zero credit to it. So I'm hoping whoever the color commentary guy was that week watched this Ajax game and saw that that's what he likes doing, like the bouncer towards the corner. And it wasn't just a chance header.
No, I think he's a surprisingly good header of the ball for somebody who's 6'10" or whatever he is, 6'15", and then nobody see until people figure that out. I hope he keeps scoring with his head because it's a great source of goals. But I think that's it for the pre-match. We hope everybody likes and subscribes and comments. There will be a post-match, so let's hope it's a good one, and we don't have anything too much to complain about. But Tamuchin, enjoy the game, and we will talk to whoever we talk to after, and let us all get our snacks and our coffees and our beers and our sodas and enjoy, hopefully, Darwin Núñez heading the ball awkwardly into the net. Peace out, everybody.
Take care.